Hi, do you know what today's thought? Yesterday's thought was one of those videos that I do from time to time that I like to do about people voters who are members of ethnic groups who traditionally vote for Democrats, how they are moving increasingly away from the Democrats, either to become independents or to become Republicans, but go over completely to the dark side. As and by the way, James Earl Jones, rest in peace. He was talking about going to the dark side. He was, of course, the voice of Darth Vader in the Star Wars movies. He died at the age of 93, so he had a long life. Rest in peace. But getting back to today's subject, you're seeing increasing examples, more and more examples of people who traditionally vote Democrat moving to vote for Donald Trump in November. Now, yesterday I showed you a video of a black woman who just she was in Chicago. She was a Chicagoan at looks like a city hall meeting, city council meeting, and just going, as the article said, where I got the video, going scorched earth on the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, and white liberals. Well, today it's the Jews' turn, of which I am one. I left, as I've mentioned in the past, I'm an independent. I left the Democratic Party way back in 1980. But now you're going to hear in a moment, I'm going to show you a video. This is a Jewish, former Democrat, progressive Democrat, who announces, he spoke before a group called the Republican Jewish Coalition. So I guess I'm not alone, and I could always use more company. It looks like I have one more compatriot. So you're going to see this guy. He's going to explain why he is leaving the Democrats and why he is going to vote for Donald Trump. Very interesting, very compelling video. It's it's about 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes, but well worth watching the whole thing. So here he is.
Not wanting to vote for a Republican this year, I've remained committed to changing the Democratic Party from within. I deliberately attended the Democratic National Convention with an open mind. Although protesters outside of the DNC harassed Chicago police officers, although they waved Hezbollah flags, although they held signs reading "We stand with Hamas," and they threatened to beat up Jewish counter-protesters, President Biden chose not only to condemn this behavior, but used his speech to announce, quote, that the protesters outside on the streets, they have a point. The day after my speech at the Republican National Convention, I told the national media, I told Democratic Party officials, my party, that I and other progressive Jewish students who are fighting for their civil rights on college campuses would be honored to give a similar address at the Democratic Convention, where we would feel more at home. No offer was ever accepted. Although Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was proud to tell the audience at the DNC how proud he is to stand up to hate, because of him, the bipartisan Anti-Semitism Awareness Act that would alleviate the concerns that I and Jewish students on college campuses have has yet to receive a floor vote on the Senate. That is a direct response and a direct result of Chuck Schumer and the Democratic leadership in the Senate. It will be difficult for me to forget the House Judiciary ranking member, Jerry Nadler, falling asleep as I gave personal testimony of my experience of anti-Semitism. During our congressional roundtable with the House Committee on Education, ranking member Democrat Bobby Scott similarly used the opportunity to criticize House Republicans for focusing on anti-Semitism. Tellingly, the overwhelming majority of Democrats on that committee did not show up. It was painful to watch my own Democratic elected officials, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Jamal Bowman, who I voted for in 2020, Ayanna Pressley, come to Harvard, come to Columbia, and other campuses to give encouragement and show solidarity with encampment leaders, the same leaders who followed me for 3 weeks on my way to class, who recorded my movements. I didn't want to say these things publicly because I want to work in a bipartisan fashion. But with the election in less than 60 days, it is clear that I can't remain silent. House Speaker Mike Johnson, House Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith, they have actively sought to meet with me and other Jewish students to discuss practical policy solutions. Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, has not. I can count on one hand the Democrats, my own party, who have done the same. I tried repeatedly to encourage the White House to meet with Jewish college students to discuss the crisis of anti-Semitism on our campus. I have never once received a response. It is no secret that Harvard University, in their bid to deny Jewish students the equity and justice they deserve, is hoping for a Democratic takeover of the House so that Speaker Johnson's alacrity in investigating anti-Semitism will cease. Just this month, it was House Republicans who sent letters to 10 high-profile colleges asking the universities to provide specific details on what measures or what policies would be implemented to protect Jewish students. Not one Democrat signed onto those letters. The current administration, contrary to the urging of so many of us students, have not mobilized the Department of Justice, the National Guard, or even the Department of Education in any meaningful way. I did not want to say these things for 10 months because I wanted to hope and pray that my party would change. For 10 months, I have tried to appear either nonpartisan or bipartisan. And in fact, contrary to the Trump campaign and to the Republican National Convention officials, I ad-libbed a significant amount of my speech at the RNC, taking out any line that explicitly endorsed Donald Trump. Because I wanted to show the Democratic Party, my party, that they could and they should and they must support Jewish students. However, elections are binary choices. It is clear to me that in this zero-sum game of electoral politics, I cannot, for the first time since I started voting, even though I registered to vote as a Democrat since the day I turned 18, I cannot support the Democratic nominee for president. Last week, the Trump campaign invited me and other college students to sit front row as President Trump not only condemned anti-Semitism, but clearly articulated the policies he would implement to combat it. I have asked repeatedly the Harris campaign to do the same. The Harris campaign delivered no such policies or invitations to any Jewish student ever. And these policies are common sense. They include deporting non-American students who abuse the foreign visa system and break American law, which is already American law. These include the withholding of federal funds and the non-accreditation of universities that violate Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. These include a strong stance against the inherently anti-Semitic, anti-American, and indoctrinating diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that across broad swaths of American society. And these, of course, include an ironclad commitment to the security to the State of Israel, a complete repudiation of any arms embargo, and the return of the American hostages at whatever cost. These common sense, once bipartisan policies are not a hallmark of the Harris campaign. They are not featured on any campaign platform. This led to the almost carnival-esque environment at the DNC, where many Jewish attendees, myself included, were told blatantly contradictory information by the slew of campaign surrogates. Would Harris rejoin the Iranian nuclear deal or not? How specifically would she return the American hostages given Hamas rejected a ceasefire? What policies would she implement to combat anti-Semitism? We did not receive a single clear answer to any of these questions. So I'd like to close by speaking directly to the American people. I did not support Trump in 2016. I did not support Trump in 2020. Hell, I did not support Trump 6 months ago. Nobody's perfect. But let me tell you this. On October 7th, the United States of America and the land of Israel began attacking our enemies' air, sea, and land. And we, Jewish Americans, have a different yet equally important battle. We will fight our adversaries on the streets. We will fight them in the court of law. We will fight them in the court of public opinion. We will fight them in academia. We will fight them in the classroom. We will fight them in the halls of Congress. And come this November, we will fight them on the ballot box. The Democratic Party has taken the Jewish vote and Jewish voters for granted for far too long. And come this November, I will be supporting, I will be endorsing, and I will be voting for President Trump. Let's fight and let's win this November.
That's my thought for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Comments always welcome below the video in the comment section below the video. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.